Okay, so the next book chapter in Age of Darkness is called Rebirth. It follows the perspective of a Thousand Sons legionnaire after Prospero burns. And chronologically, the story is this Alpha Legionnaire with eight other Alpha Legionnaire, Thousand Sons Legionnaire, after with 8 or 9 other Thousand Sons Legionnaires return to Prospero to search through the ruins, and if their Primarch was still there, rescue him. And so that's their intention. And then while there is description and chapters and paragraphs about they are there, and then there's all this scenery of rubble and broken buildings, and they are engaged by Imperial fists, and then there's descriptions of combat between them, of missiles flying overhead as well as bolt shells flying towards them and them returning fire. And there's more description than I can remember. And then what happens is slowly, he's losing squad mates. They can't hold that position, this position. And then conclusively, he is struck and then he is taken captive. And the chapter is quite long for narratively. The only important thing from this interrogation is if the Imperial Fist Sergeant wanted to know if this Thousand Sons person knew of something called the Caves. It's a named location on Prospero. It's subterranean. It's underground, and it's important for its it's important for knowledge. I don't remember what kind of knowledge and learning and importance in context of the military necessities in fighting in the Civil War, and specifically against the rest of the Thousand Sons, because this location has some relevance to the witchery of the Thousand Sons and all their sorcerous powers. That's what the Imperial Sergeant believes. Imperial Fist Sergeant, he believes that all this learning that they'll uncover in this building, it's not clear what exactly is in this building, but like I said, it's important in military necessity against the Thousand Sons. And there isn't a confirmation from this Thousand Sons survivor that that's what they were after. I mean, that's pretty much the whole chapter, except it's very much not chronologically written that way. Chronologically, it's from the Thousand Sons guy's perspective of him waking up in a dark room being interrogated, and then the talk of the interrogation for audiobook, so it was for another 5 or 10 minutes, and then flashback to memories of descriptions of them being on Prospero, looking just in ruins and rubble, and the characters having self-reflection, and then going back to interrogation, still on the same topics, going back to memories, still the same thing. so it wasn't. I think it's another good thing. It's just the commentary is what most of this video is going to be about. That was quite relevant, I thought, about some of the, not relevant to any big consequential things, but to the activities in histories of the Civil War, where it's like, you know, the major battle of Isfahan 5, of Ultramar, and of the Terran Palace, like everyone's going to know, but not everyone's going to know that on Prospero, after it burned, there was an attack, that, you know, a small group of, you know, small, this is really just for my brain and for my conceptualization of military concepts, of what word people use is called small unit tactics. So, you know, I'm not really familiar with all the language, but so conceptually that was nice of making that connection on. So these are missions and missions performed by, you know, groups numbering around 10, you know, and that's just as much a part of the history, even if it's not consequential. You know, those kinds of histories are always fun, both in real life and in fiction. So I enjoyed it. It was also nice to learn more about Prospero, as just such a unique world. It's not my unique, because I honestly can't describe all of it, but that somehow the civilization was so utopian in a way, I guess, in that there was just secret shiny treasures all over this place. If you know, there were all sorts of special shiny treasure locations you could find if you just had a more detailed map of Prospero, you know, and which is nice, you know. And so far, just, you know, whether however the authors intentioned and Games Workshop intentioned the Imperial Fist being such a prolific and important legion in the story, it's like whatever their intention is, just in the books, it's quite revealing how important the Imperial Fists are. Is like, of all the legions that could have been in this story, it was another Imperial Fist. You know, it could have been the Raven Guard, it could have been the Salamanders, it could have still even been Space Wolves, which the Imperial Fist Sergeant did comment on, that the Space Wolves are thorough, they're good, but they didn't know about this treasure. And so, lore-wise, it's interesting that the Imperial Fists kind of have a few, you know, deeper roots. They got a few more twigs on their tree than maybe other chapters do, seemingly, based on just what, you know, is written in these books. So yeah, it's quite nice.